Hi Tea Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet. Today we are checking out some more Tower of God Webtoon, and I'm pretty excited for this. I feel like it came off the last couple of chapters on the high of watching Lady Yuri obliterate someone, right? I think that is always a fun time to watch her just come in literally like with her fists and just brute forcing her way through. And you know what? I appreciate that. Sometimes I just need some rage to be let out, and I feel like Lady Yuri healed some part of me and needed to just watch someone get team rocketed into the distance. So I'm going into these chapters feeling pretty good. Oh geez, did we land? We did. I thought you were gone for good. Because she's all right. Now that I've punched you into oblivion, tell me where Bomb is. You look a little rough. I don't like that you're laughing after all that. Huh? Inescapable trap. I don't know about that. Oh, geez. Is that what the death liquid was about? Yeah, White is definitely in a position of winning this if we don't figure some stuff out. I like that Poe's I'm gonna give him some time to rest. I don't know how to feel about Poe. On the one hand, I'm like, you on the side of the enemy, and on the other hand, I'm like, but you're also with the team that was on the Hell Train like originally and escaped. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if he wants to be a hero. I think that he just is tired of losing people or saying goodbye. It's probably also some of the humanity. Something to prove, right? To be like, I can be like a good person, and like all of this power that I found myself in possession of, right? How do I use that in a way that is going to have a good impact, right? Because he's already talked about, oh, I don't want power to have authority, to control people, to sit on a throne by stepping on other people. So what do you do with the power you've been given though, right? Like you can't just get rid of it. Ooh, we in a flashback? What are we making a deal with? Is it the person who's in charge of the train? Yes, okay. Scary eyes. Jesus. The fact that it's like chaos and death, please. I don't like that we're unleashing something we can't stop. Maybe we don't. Ugh, yeah, no, I know that Kuraka's got his fingers in all of this too. Whether or not that's like in direct opposition to Jinsung, right? Because obviously Violet is Jinsung's project, right, in all of this. So there seems to be a bit of animosity there. Whomst. No, not the father. I love him. I've claimed him even though he's not a gentle giant. I'm still keeping him. Ooh, I love all the line work on Bob, like the barely contained energy, right? There's something manic. We've seen it with White of having all the line work come in when he like starts to lose control of himself. And Bomb's like inching into that. And while I'm like, yay for having like power and standing up for ourselves and doing what feels right to us, I'm also worried, gotten into like bloodthirst territory, and maybe we don't. I don't know if hero's what we're going for, honestly. I do agree with the arrogance though, like being like, oh, I can just save everybody. It'll be fine. Oh, yeah, it's like I was saying before about, I'm like, I feel like White doesn't have to do anything and he'll win just by Bomb's nature. Oh, geez. Oh, the countdown. But it wasn't like you're allowed to do anything in the fight, but like also it frees up White to descend, right? Because he's, oh, I just have to wait for you to save my team. This is not going to be good for you. You picked a fight last round when you like actively tried to kill White and take away, separate the souls back out, right? He definitely has it out for you. Yeah. Bomb does have a history of putting people in danger by recklessly going after what he wants, which doesn't always turn out well. Ugh, put her in her place. I feel like every time I see Rachel, I'm just like the biggest eye roll, okay? I'm trying to contain myself. I feel like you are a hypocrite anyway. There's like so much happening that I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. Wake the dead? No, definitely do not do that. I don't know. I'm just like, I feel like this is not only because I know there's like a bunch of other chapters, like my anxiety about Bomb is lessened, but I just feel like the middle of this game is not where we completely fail and fall apart. Could other stuff go awry? Maybe. But I don't feel like this is it. Ooh, let's go. Dang, look how cool that is though. And I love how it looks like almost like water swirling, right? I love the aquatic imagery that just like, continues to be a motif throughout this whole series. Yes, he does have a lot of power. He does. I don't know, boy. I feel like that's not enough to just be like, I want to save everyone. I'm like, that's a nice sentiment, but I feel like there needs to be some kind of like plan besides just stubborn. Epic though. The power scaling over the last few chapters. Ooh, nice. Look at him go. He does not like that though. The eyes, freaky. Admitting that like having White be like, I admit you have remarkable abilities is like impressive, honestly. In the future, that implies there will be a future. I am okay with that. Interesting too to be like, maybe you'll reach the top without sacrifices like me, right? Like I think White understands that his power like comes from somewhere else, right? Despite all of the bravado and this talk of being a god and building an entire religion around himself, he understands that his power comes from sacrifices of other people as opposed to Bomb, who like obviously gets his power from some other sources, right? With the ignition weapon stuff and everything that happened with the workshop battles, but there's also just like an inherent ability that he has. See, you shatter the rules of the tower that I know. I think that goes back to what I was saying in the last couple of chapters of how there's so much rebellious imagery throughout this entire series, and I feel like it's really starting to come together at this point where it's not just about how do we pass this test, how do we progress against this particular moment with this particular adversary. So many ancient powers and structures in the tower that are being challenged by this group that is coming together with like Bomb and his friends. And people who like benefit from things like the status quo, right? There's a bunch of people in power who got there because of how the tower has always worked, and challenging how the tower works is going to rip that power from them. I need you to not seriously hurt him. He's focused on, we did look though. Is it enough to do anything? Dang. The coloring is pretty, but like, you're freaking me out now. I just said, I was like, I feel like, no, my boy. Arkraptor, go back to your place. Do not sacrifice yourself. I like you. I trust Bomb to have protagonist protection. I don't trust you, though. Were we okay? Are we good? That looks like the sword is still coming for us. Who intervened? Ooh, hi. Why do you look like you're wearing black now? Interesting to have the darker clothing and then be like, your evil nature. We already know there were consequences if we switched sides. Even though she kind of showed up and she was like, I don't know which side I'm going to be on. I'm just going to watch and see what happens. Ooh, vengeful spirits. Oh, see? I was like, I feel like you're not the clone because we had the weird Eldritch horror that Prince saw that was like the formless thing. And then when White saw her, he was like, who are you? So like, you have to be something else. But interesting to say, oh, all of the like souls that you've taken to create your power, that's very similar to the siblings all banding their power together, right? Having there be like a clone that is because of that. And maybe it could be this like weird formless white creature thing that we saw earlier, because that would be like those souls forming together, but it could be something else. Billions of souls. I'm sure that there's a bunch of different kind of entities that could come of that White isn't even aware of, because that was like right at the end of like his power being depleted and being split up. Ooh, I love the like little teleport thing. Thank you for saving Aquaraptor along with this. I know that wasn't the goal, but I appreciate it. Interesting too to be like, his goal is like to save everyone, and then you're talking about a whole group of like billions of people, right? A billion people who were sacrificed, and have that like the kind of voice for those people meeting someone who, I will save everyone and not make sacrifices to gain my power. That would be really appealing to that group of people probably. Dang, I love that like it'll reach its limits, but today is not that day. Beautiful like lighting and panel. Sorry, I know this is like a sentimental, wonderful moment, but anytime you say choose you, I am thinking Pokemon. That's just how my brain works. Ooh, share your power. I don't like that we're just like casually impaling people. Yeah, I would be concerned about this as well. I would also be defensive about that. I'd be like, huh? He doesn't want sacrifices though, and I'd be like, a lot. Are you gonna know about all the people in there? That's a lot. But that's also like a huge power up. Yeah. I'm concerned. What happens if he's not? We just impaled him without his consent and have now given him a billion souls to figure out. Look, all I'm saying is I grew up watching Fullmetal Alchemist, and this is giving Hohenheim, okay? It has a vibe, and I don't love it. I don't love it. It's freaking me out. Oh, we're back with you again. What's your thing with like acid, poison related things? It's very hands-off and like gruesome the same time. I feel like this is the least of our worries. You're like, hey, we're setting up this trap, and I'm like, he's dealing with some other stuff. I feel like he's about to go god mode if we can handle the billion souls. That's like the power of a slayer. I feel like that maybe is going to put a wrench in whatever evil plan you've got going on. Though they will melt in acid and vanish is like unnerving. I don't know, we got a bit of a teleporter now. I like mustache. Aw, I love the confidence. Also, like, he has almost died many times. He was just impaled. We just got stabbed with a sword. So he seems to be a little bit harder to get rid of than people give him credit. I like it's just, you're wasting my time. Tell me where he is. Thanks. Yeah, I'm concerned about this. I feel like everyone should be. Ooh, interesting that it's like the orange too, like very much like the needle thorn. I never know which translation. I'm just an English speaker doing their best. Ooh, the change in his eyes and like the shattering almost. Boy, I'm gonna need you to take some deep breaths. We were already having a moment where I was like, have you tried meditation? I guess it would, yeah. I always forget that there's the whole like Shinsu density thing, right? Like it gets more dense the farther into the tower you get, that getting that huge power, you'd be like, oh, that doesn't bother me anymore. That was better than you expected? You thought dying from the shock was a possibility, and you were just like, I'm gonna go for it. Thank you. Thank you. Someone is, you got stabbed. I don't know if you're fine. I'm very worried. Again, power corrupts, right? And I know that he's Bum and he's looked at power and he's been like, I don't want it. But just because it's not going to corrupt like your intentions doesn't mean that it isn't going to get to you. At what point do you start to not be able to handle it? Because I know that he's got a bunch of different abilities and a bunch of like inherent power and all of that, but he's also got a body that can be injured. And I'm like, at what point does your body just not be able to handle it? You see where I'm coming from? I want him to be all right, and they're just throwing a lot at him. You're kind of scary, to be honest. See, Vengeful Souls. I don't like that that's part of who Bum is now. See, Fury and Hatred. We were already mad at White, whomstever this adversary is that we would like to call him. I would like us to not have that be part of who he is. Thanks. I like the continued disbelief of, you should be messed up right now. Then why did you do it? Huh? Why did you just Hail Mary that? Are we scared now? Are we like a little bit, terrified? I feel like you should be. I don't like it either, but for different reasons from you. Ooh. I love the little coloring of like purple with the contrast of the orange. Great use of contrasting colors throughout a bunch of the recent chapters. I love it. Is Prince still going through a crisis? Valid. A near-death experience will do that, huh? Aw, sweetie. Don't you have like family to catch up with? Is he hard to figure out? I think he's just a good person, which is not something you find in the tower. Ooh, the unlike us. Y'all got some survivor's guilt that you gotta figure out. All right, who's it gonna be? Ooh, is it Angel? Looked maybe like it was her, but we're waiting. Like, Bomb's like, I don't gotta run yet. Crazy. Especially since before he was already super fast, and now he's, my body's so much lighter now. I'm like, how fast are you now? He just knows. Don't ask questions. It's crazy how, like, before there was so much conversation of, like, ideology and all of that, like, back and forth between White and Bomb in the last round, and now he's, like, silent. He's observing because he doesn't know what he's dealing with anymore. And I think that's so interesting. Like, the shift in how he's looking at Bomb. Yeah, are we saving Angel? I just feel like we're tapping into this power really fast. I'm just worried. Ooh, he's not gonna like that you have his power. Dang, the challenge. I don't like that he doesn't need more voices talking to him. Maybe you could, but that's not what happened. Thinking what if is not gonna get us anywhere. Ooh, yeah. We also were like, let's sacrifice a bunch of people. That's... I'm so determined though. I thought it was more of a spring of the moment thing. Like they were all like, no, you can't do it. And then she like stepped in at the last moment and made the decision. Yeah. The guilt of not only not being able to save someone, but also the sacrifice to save yourself in exchange for that other person, like caring more about yourself than someone else. Oh dear. I don't know, you look a little nervous. Dang, it's a good way of getting him. It's so interesting to learn all of the stuff that has to do with magic now. I'm like, I know that this has always been like a fantasy series and there's always been like crazy powers and stuff going on, but I'm like, y'all throwing magic at me this late in the game that's like sigils and circles and god level power is mean. Dang, it takes on a way different feeling knowing that this was like the plan. And they were all just like, okay. I thought it was like a much more impulsive thing on her part. That they were like, she felt like she had to in the moment. It was like a last ditch effort. And in reality, it was them being like, yeah, sure, you can be the sacrifice. Oh, I guess it's like it hadn't been decided. But like still, y'all knew that she was like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself before it happened. Yeah. It's like, even if you didn't agree on it outright, you did. Because you didn't take precautions to make sure that she wasn't there. Like you could have, but you didn't. And it seems like Daniel's the only one who's like actually trying. Him crying is like heavy. Ooh, yeah, the fact that they stopped him. Dang. I guess I also forgot that they all thought he died as well, right? Like he died and came back basically. And I'm like, ooh, you also thought that you sacrificed him. They haven't both saved 2 hostages each. Bomb has been clearing the board. It just doesn't work that way points wise. No, look at the unbothered. Not the little one. Oh, now we're coming back. Prince was having a moment and now he's, hang on. Yeah, I guess all the predictions are like haywire now because what can Bomb even do? The stare off between them. Oh, we're both going? Yeah, I feel like this is definitely White kind of Hail Marrying this a little bit. This is about the fight where it's like, Bomb's, I'm gonna save my teammate. And White's like, we're gonna figure out who's stronger. Again, do not raise the dead. But that is cool like Bomb is now. I think it's also really interesting that Bomb as like a voice for all of these people. It's not only we're talking about a godlike power, but it's also, I don't know, almost like a spokesperson for all of these fallen people, right? Again, digging into some of those rebellious, going against the system, taking down the system that currently makes everything function the way that it does. Having Bomb literally have the voices of those who have been failed by how the tower works and the people who gain power and authority because of how the tower works is a very like symbolic power set, right? To have the voices of those sacrificed in order for other people to gain power, after his whole thing about I'm not going to step on other people in order to reach greater heights. And in a way, like, he is benefiting from the loss of other people, the sacrifice of other people, but it was not like at his hand. It was just him like redirecting that power, right? Like he's reclaiming that power from other people who would sacrifice other people in order to gain that like power and authority. I don't know, you got a billion souls going on now. I like it's just, I got this. I don't know what bomb is anymore, okay? Ooh, did we punch him in the face? I don't know what I was expecting from the showdown, but a right hook was not one of them. Yeah, I'm with you with the he punched him. Yeah, I think we're all shocked by that choice. Yeah, he's reformed it. It's different with Bomb like embodying, like I was saying, like reclaiming it and making it something different. It technically isn't his power though. It's like the power of those people. And Bomb's just like, again, like being a spokesperson for that power as opposed to owning that power for himself. Ooh. Are we making a flame sword? Dang. Yeah, I'm with y'all on that one too. Same as what we saw with White. Like hooking all the way back and being like, I'm gonna make a sword out of Shinsu. And it's like him being like, a bomb can copy powers just by watching, right? The fact that it's like a flaming sword too, again, going into a bunch of different things in terms of the imagery, but isn't it like a flaming sword that is in like the biblical story, right? Isn't that what Michael is supposed to use during like the end of the world? I'm trying to think of all my Bible book names after like the rapture and stuff. Obviously only in like certain belief systems, but isn't it like a flaming sword and it's all the way back from like the Garden of Eden? Yes, I can't fully remember, honestly. I'm pulling from that, right? Of again, redirection of power. And again, like the oranges and reds in contrast to some of the like darker like blues and purples, like cold colors that come from White. Yeah, I think you might be a little bit screwed. Can we save Misang though? I know we're doing some other stuff, but like, I worry. Hey, you got all your power from taking it from other people. That's how the game's played, apparently. Does look a little bit demonic there, doesn't he? It's a good question. Yeah, I like that we're redirecting to be like, remember what we're supposed to be doing? Dang! Maybe it's just because I have a fish brain. I'm like, ooh, pretty lights. But the use of like light and like emission and stuff in the panels is just pretty. I'm distracted. The almost like tantrum of that's mine, give it back. Just being like, nope. Apparently you're not anymore. Crazy that we have this huge text there, and then here God is so much smaller in comparison to what's happening, right? Like the impact of him calling himself a god is so much smaller in the face of Bomb's power in this moment. Dang. Look at his little smug face. You didn't know that was gonna happen. The fact that he's just like, I'm just here to open up the submarine. That's my job. Oh, I like the good work. Oh, hey, you're still here. I know that we had a mention of her the last few chapters, but I was just like, yeah, he did. Wow. Again, look at the panel. We saved a girl. Good. I guess we all know who is like at least the Slayer nominee for now. We're bringing a bunch of stuff with Karaka, and I'm like, I feel like that's because we're winding up to that being something that we're gonna have to deal with soon. We're bringing in like ancient powers. But look at him go. Aw. Y'all gonna make me emotional right at the end of all this? Are we like having to make that she decided this? Oh no. I wasn't expecting it to become a drama. I feel a lot of things. I wasn't ready for a confession. I like you're short, grumpy, and not exactly charming. Look at her little face. We do like a softie. Hey, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but a he falls first is a great trope. One of my favorites. You can't do this to me, okay? I'm here for action and magic and humor and rock, okay? That's what I'm here for. You can't tug on my love of romantic stories. And then I know this one ends tragically. No, I was already like, wow, that's rough already with her story. And now you're just like adding on layers for what? I guess because like character growth on Daniel's part, but leave me alone. I feel like that's not very healthy, but okay. I wasn't ready to be in my feelings right at the end. We were so victorious. I just noticed how curled in on myself. Look, you can't. We just had a moment where I'm like, I'm a little bit worried about the fact that we have like a bunch of vengeful, bitter spirits speaking in Bomb's head, telling him what he should be doing. That already seems bad. We've already had a few different moments where Bomb's like, there's a voice in my head. I'm like, that's bad. That's a bad sign. It's not good. We don't like when there's a voice in our head that is not like our just inner monologue. Okay? Nope, don't do that. So I'm worried about that, but I'm also like in shock about the fact that he's like a god now. He beat White easily at the end there. And like also, again, he has like the power of all these people, which was like White trying to reach that god level, which I'm like, you're like Slayer power, because we just beat White. And like, you understand where I'm coming from? The flabbergasted emotion that I feel going off of that. And then you're just gonna like gut punch me with a whole like love confession scene right at the end, like just tacking that on. I don't know what to do with myself. I feel so many things at the end of that. Again, there's still like an after, right? Of some kind. because we still have Fug is still causing havoc. Kuraka, I feel like we didn't set up all of that just because we're not going to come back to it. And then we have all the stuff with the princesses of Jihad and all that have been called in because of Lady Yuri and Lady Yuri stuff to deal with. And I just feel a lot. And we still have the whole stuff. We still have to deal with Casno. Do you think I've forgotten Teddy Bear? No, I haven't. Absolutely not. I feel a lot going off of that. And I don't know what we're going to be doing in the upcoming chapters. That's where I'm at now, which is good that I'm this invested. But I guess I hope you enjoyed reading that along with me. You can click this playlist to go to my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to me next time I post a Tower of God reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.